Tuesday, and you know what that means, don't you, Joe?
Yeah, it's the day after Monday.
Oh, but more exciting and more important than that, it is the
James and Joe Garden Show.
That's the one with me, James Alexander-Sinclair, and over there is Joe Swift. Welcome to the James and Joe Garden Show, which apparently, according to a substantial survey that's been taken amongst the listening public, is the least sensible garden podcast, not just in this country, but on this entire planet, which I think is distinguished.
Do we like that?
Well,
the least,
I think it's...
Is it a good little strap line, that?
I'm not sure. So
James and Joe Garden Show, the least sensible
garden show on the
planet.
It sort of doesn't rattle off the tongue, does it? Really?
But there's a lot of really sensible ones. So we wouldn't want to be the most sensible garden show.
No, but there's bits of what we do that is quite sensible sometimes. That's it. The James and Joe Garden Show, quite sensible sometimes. I think that's our thing.
Works for me.
It works. So every week we tackle a garden topic. Could be all sorts. What have we done in recent weeks? We've done bulbs.
We've done bulbs and compost.
Or compost, if you're American.
Compost.
Compost.
Oh, that's how to pronounce it. Finally got it. Compost.
Compost. We've done that. We've done bears before now. We've done all sorts of things.
Well,
so
we answered a question on bears. We didn't do a whole... That's coming. Next year, we're going to do a whole podcast about bears because it's our speciality subject.
More on bears. Yeah. So basically, we tackle a subject and then we take some questions, because what we need from you listeners out there is for you to send us questions. However, there are strict rules, aren't there, Joe? What are the rules?
The double Ds.
Yep.
No D. Louis, what are you laughing at? I'm not talking about that sort of double Ds. I'm talking about no dead and no dull questions.
Correct. No dull questions and no dead plants. That is the thing. And if you send us questions that involve either of those things, what will we do to them, Joe?
We will shred them, compost them, and you will not get a gnome. And we'll probably take the piss a bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you send us a good question, then we will send you one of our special gnomes, which are basically modelled on Jekyll, who is our house gnome. And
yes.
She really.
Well,
they come.
There's a lot of facial hair there. So for I think the he.
They come in green or gold. Is how it works.
Green or gold. And actually, we haven't given a gold. We haven't given that many golds away.
That's because they're precious.
They're precious. They're
very,
expensive,
very precious.
and we only got one box of them, whereas we got 500 boxes of the other
ones. Okay, so today, what's happened is, so I've got here...
What you got?
Can you hear? There's rustling, and there's a bag here.
Yeah, what you got? Snacks.
And in the bag, I've got...
Wow, James.
A Kit Kat. I've got some chocolate. I've got some biscuits. I've got some custard creams.
Ooh.
I've got all sorts of things. Because what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about snacks in the garden. So this is the scenario. This is the picture. You go out into the garden.
Yeah.
In the morning, all tooled up, all ready to go, knee pads on, little woolly hat to keep your head warm, and a belt with your hori and your secateurs and everything. You go out there, you do a couple of hours weeding.
Yeah.
And then you think, ooh.
Time for a cup of tea.
Time for a cup of tea.
Or a nice cup of coffee, maybe.
A nice cup of coffee. But what would I really like is just a little something. It's a bit early for a full dinner. It's a bit late for breakfast.
Yeah.
I just want a little something or other. What would you go for?
Well, I like a banana, but I'm guessing we're trying to avoid healthy snacks.
I think
because
at this point,
that bag has got nothing healthy in it whatsoever. And I like a banana, but I can be tempted. What you got? Have you got nuts?
Look at this. I've got some roasted and salted sunflower seeds.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, well, they're not going to fill me up. They look like a lot of work, actually. I might plant some of those.
In fact, they've been roasted and salted rather
roasted and salted,
hinders their fertility. By the way, those people who are listening to us, if you want to go and watch us either on Spotify or on YouTube, you'll be able to see the snacks that we are presenting to you. And if any of you actually make these snacks and would like to sponsor this podcast, then you're very welcome to do so.
We could be sponsored by a sunflower seed company.
Jaffa Cakes.
Oh,
you're sponsor us.
James, come on. That is your addiction. Frankly,
I don't think
you eat a packet of those a
I
day,
think
don't
it's a
you?
compulsion, but yes, I
Do
do.
you still?
People think that I'm weird for eating a packet of Jaffa Cakes in one go.
Well, they don't know how you're quite so skinny, considering you eat a whole packet of them every day
But
of the
there's
week.
nothing to them. A Jaffa Cake is like it's like eating a communion wafer. There's nothing to it. You're not going to get fat on a Jaffa Cake at all.
No, but a whole box every day you might.
Yeah, but it's only 10. It used to be 12 Jaffa Cakes in a box, but because of inflation and probably Brexit, you only get 10 now.
I can't even remember what they taste like.
Oh, well, we can have one.
Hang on. It's got. What does it say on it? Is it flavoured?
This is a weird one.
What does it say?
It's got honey in it, hot honey. It's like Chilean honey, and as a result, is an aberration in the face of the Lord. It shouldn't be allowed.
Well, we've just lost a sponsor there, haven't we?
No, because normal Jaffa Cakes we welcome and we love them very much indeed. So basically, your go-to snack would be something a little bit healthier, maybe some nuts or some seeds or something.
Well, no, I love a biscuit. I'll go for anything basically that's knocking around. If there's some biscuit, I do like biscuits. Yeah, I like those. You know what I really like, and they're very rarely in the house. I've got to say because they don't last long. But you know those sort of waffly biscuits that they have in Holland. I'd like to be sponsored by them. A stroopelwaffel.
Stroopwafel.
A stroopelwaffel.
Yeah, stroopwafel.
Oh, and you put them. You have your cup of tea and you place them on the top of the cup of tea, like a little lid.
Yeah.
And then they sort of melt a little bit of caramelly in the middle.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
they're the best.
Yes, those are very, very good. But
I don't think I have a problem. I mean, you have a problem with biscuits. Like you talk about them all the time.
I don't have a problem with biscuits.
You eat them all the time, and when you're not eating or talking about them, you're writing about them or thinking about them. You have a biscuit thing.
I think that biscuits are quite an important part of life generally.
Yeah.
I think that they're a particularly important part of a gardener's life. So if you think back to the time when you were a landscaper or when you were working,
I couldn't eat enough.
Exactly.
I couldn't eat enough.
So what
food.
would happen is that you start the job, you do the 8 o'clock thing, you sort of maybe have a breakfast at about 9 or something, carry on going, and then the client would come out with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And ideally a plate of biscuits. So, okay, I want you to cast your mind back to that time.
Yeah.
What do you want to be on that plate?
Well,
what sort of biscuit do you want on that plate?
I want a box with. I want a selection.
Have you ever had a selection box from a client?
For
So this is not
Christmas.
the realm
I think
of fantasy.
For Christmas, we got one for the whole company.
That's
once
not
for
the
one,
same
but-
thing. No, this is
Okay,
on the, on the job.
okay, I'm there. I know what it is.
Okay, what are you going to get? What do you want?
An orange club.
God, you've got to be doing quite good. That's a wrapped biscuit.
I want
A wrapped biscuit.
Oh, I'll settle for a chocolate hobnob. I don't mind. I'm not that. I'm not. Well, don't look so disappointed in me, James.
No, I'm not. A chocolate hobnob is great. I personally would prefer a chocolate digestive to a chocolate hobnob, which I know is a controversial thing to say, but I
Well, it's a sign of your age, isn't it?
No, I think. Well, do you think it's because of the roughage involved in a hobnob is more than it would be in
dark chocolate or milk?
Oh, I think possibly a dark chocolate, very slightly refrigerated. So just a little bit cold so that it remains.
Who's the client? You sound like the client rather than the landscaper out in the garden.
This
You're the landscaper out there. You're covered in mud.
Yeah.
And you've got someone coming out with a cup of tea. You're going to get what you're given.
Yeah.
Would you like a biscuit? Well, okay. Your favourite? I'm not nearly as fussy as you. I've gone through. I'll have anything on the plate, even a squash fly biscuit.
Oh, I like a squash fly, a Garibaldi.
Oh, a fig roll.
A fig roll is part of your five healthy vegetables every day.
So if you have like 5 fig rolls, you're done.
You're done. You've done a whole lot. I think that and I've written about this for Scripan. It hasn't been published yet, but it will be at some point in the next few months. Is how it works. And I think that there is a hierarchy of biscuits that you give to your landscape. And the worst thing that you can possibly be confronted with is so client comes out.
Yeah.
Mug of coffee, mug of tea, whatever it is that everybody wants. 3 sugars in those days.
Well,
I was having.
I'm going to come back to the tea and the coffee in a minute, but you go for biscuits first.
So comes out with that. On the plate are how many landscapers are there on site?
5.
5 of us.
5.
On the plate are 5 rich tea biscuits. Can you think of anything more disappointing in your whole life? 5 rich tea biscuits. They have no playfulness to them. They have no joy in them. They're just something really, really boring. The only thing that is almost is 5 sort of nice biscuits. You remember the nice biscuits that were slightly coconutty, and they're always the ones that were left over at the end of the selection box.
Yeah.
So that is at the low end of everything.
Okay.
At the highest
Can I think
end,
of anything more disappointing in my life? Yeah, I can. like them not paying the invoice or something.
No,
that
I
would
think
be more
this is
disappointing.
worse. Well, actually, I think it's a marker. If they're giving you just
you those-
one rich tea biscuit, then they're not going to
they've
pay
got
their
them
bills.
in the house, so they obviously like them. They wouldn't have them in the house if
No, they bought them specially for you, and not only did they buy them specially, they're not even the proprietary brand. They're not even McVitie's rich tea.
Oh no,
they're
home.
cheap ones that come from the corner shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's not really accessible. At the other end,
Yeah.
the most joyous moment in my life.
Okay. Here we go.
Right up there.
Yeah.
Along with the birth of my children.
Wow.
And my wife accepting to be my wife. One of those moments.
They're all listening.
Was a client that came out and presented me with a Balsan dark chocolate biscuit. And Balsans, for those who don't know, basically they are a German biscuit. They're rectangular, they're sort of buttery, and the chocolate is as thick as the armor of a Teutonic knight. It is really there, and it is solid. And when I saw these biscuits coming out, my heart skipped a beat.
Oh wow.
And the rest of the day went with, went
You've
as
never
if I was
forgotten
floating
this.
on clouds.
How many decades ago was this?
4.
Are they still going?
4 decades away. But a Balsan?
Balsan.
Yes,
How do you spell that?
Bahlsen. If they wanted to come and sponsor
They
this
would be a
podcast,
brilliant sponsor because we
They
could
would be
become
amazing.
addicted to Balsan biscuits. And I don't think you could describe a biscuit. That was beautifully described with the chocolate stickers of, what was it? Something
the
Tunic?
armour of a Teutonic knight.
Yeah, oh,
You
God,
see, because they're
good.
German, and it sort of works quite nicely. But that's the very highest
That's
and the
top
very
end.
lowest.
Where was that? Knightsbridge or somewhere?
I think it might have been Pimlico.
Yeah, you weren't in Kentish Town, were you?
I think it might have been the same job when my dog broke into the house and went to sleep on their duvet, and it was a
Oh,
really wet, muddy day.
What, was this before or after the biscuits?
No, that's the biscuits one day. The next, I think I never got the biscuits again.
No.
I think the dog got into the house
And got
It
the
was
biscuits.
It was wet and muddy, and the dog went to sleep in the middle of their bed,
Oh, wow.
all wet and muddy. So that was not a good moment.
That's
I
not
think
good.
after that, I probably didn't get those biscuits. But that moment
That was
still
it.
stays
That
with
was-
me.
that
40
does.
something years later.
Yeah, stay with all our listeners now.
Yeah,
as well.
it's there. So talking about the middle ground, other sorts of snacks. What have you been given?
No, I want to talk
homemade cake?
beverages. I'm going
Okay,
beverages,
do beverages.
now.
That's fine.
Well, because you know my coffee thing, yeah.
Did you have that even when you were a young
Quite
and callow
early, quite
landscaper?
early. I was in the truck. Used to go around to Mark's house, and there's a cafe called the San Siro Cafe. It's between sort of Parliament Hill Fields, I guess, very near where I went to school, and used to get a cheese and tomato roll for breakfast, and a cup of
Toasted or cold?
No, it was just cold because we didn't have time to be hanging around. And you get a cup of coffee, which we thought that Tino, who ran the place, just went over Hampstead Heath and just picked up a load of acorns and put them through his coffee grinder, because there was not a lot of it didn't taste of coffee.
Yeah.
And that was when I was much younger. Then I turned into a bit of a I'm not a connoisseur, but I just like a cup of coffee. But what's the worst thing is you go around, so often you'd have to go and see a client if you're a designer, before they go off to work. So you'd have to be round there at, stupid, like, 7:30 in the morning or something. And the kids are all, running around because they're going off to school and everything's going off. And you see this fancy coffee machine in the corner and they say, oh, would you like a tea or a coffee? And you're eyeing up this coffee machine thinking, this is high risk strategy, really. Yeah. And then you say, you're like, oh, I'd love a cup of coffee. And then they go and get the old granules out.
Instant out, yeah.
And so I developed, and there was nothing more disappointing for me. I'd much rather have a cup of tea than a cup of instant coffee. And people say, you've got to talk about instant coffee as if it's a different drink. It's not the same drink. It's a complete, it's not a cup of coffee in my book, okay? So I developed this thing. I used to start saying to them, well, is it, I know this sounds a bit weird, but I have an allergy to instant. I have an allergy to the freeze dried process.
Yes.
So if it's a real cup of coffee, lovely. But and this used to happen a lot in the 90s, and there was a lot of blurred lines between coffee, basically. Now I don't know whether it's me or I would always get a proper cup of coffee. But anyway, that's the coffee thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's because there used to be, There's granulated coffee, there's instant coffee, and there's instant coffee, and there's instant coffee that is granulated, which is a little bit more superior. I remember when it was just basically powder.
Yeah.
It was like sort of, like compost, basically almost.
That's what it should be.
So the coffee is one thing, but then
so
and then
the snack.
So what are you having with it? Have you had? Okay, so
a biscuit. I'll have a biscuit. I'll have whatever's turned up. A biscuit. I've gone through my biscuits. You've gone into your fancy biscuits.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you can't eat enough at that stage. Alon, who's now our managing director, who used to be our he used to he could not eat enough to fuel the amount of energy he was burning.
Yeah,
at lunch, he would go and buy a whole loaf of bread, a whole tin of pilchards, a massive slab of cheese, and he would eat the whole lot and sit there going, I'm still hungry, I'm so hungry. And you'd spend a lot of we used to spend a lot of
energy.
A lot of our money. We'd spend a lot of our income. If there was a really good baker's at the end of the road, that was fatal. You go down there, and because you just couldn't eat enough, and you never seemed to put on weight because we just worked.
Because you're working.
This was before everyone was using all these track barrows and all this machinery. We were actually barrowing stuff and carrying stuff. It was all and now it's all diggers, and there's a lot of machinery going on. I'm not saying it's not hard work,
but there was a lot. I remember almost one of the first jobs that I did was working for somebody else, and we were doing this house in Holland Park, and she wouldn't let us bring the stuff through the house, so we had to come through the neighbour's garden. So I remember carrying bags of sand really, really long way in order to be able to get there. And you use a lot of energy, and you need something decent. You need more than one rich tea biscuit at that point.
Totally.
I think how many so again on the grade of good things.
Yeah.
A homemade cake is a really good thing. A
proper homemade cake.
I mean, you don't often get that, really. No. And my theory is that a wrapped biscuit, I know you said you wanted a club, but a wrapped biscuit like a penguin, if you give your landscapers a penguin, I think it's almost the equivalent of an indecent advance. Really. But it's like sort of no,
hang on, a penguin's a lot better than a rich tea biscuit.
Yeah, I know. It's going too far.
Oh, I see.
You see, I think it's like, hang on, there's something suspicious going on here.
The
bricklayer's having an affair with a client or something like that's going on, and that's why you get a penguin or a wrapped biscuit of any sort. How about a Viscount?
Is your German Teutonic biscuit wrapped?
No. That just comes in in a box. Okay. I mean, that's presented in a velvet. You didn't get a whole box. Did you get a whole box?
No,
we got a whole packet.
Oh, you're joking.
That's.
Right.
I mean, there's
I
not
can
a lot
see
in a
why
packet.
the memory is so strong.
But and then the Jaffa Cake would come out occasionally. But if you're giving your landscapers Jaffa Cakes, you have to allow for one box each.
But there's no energy. It's all air. There's no energy.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a cake. So if you're going to do Jaffa Cakes, one packet of 10 Jaffa Cakes is not enough.
What about a donut? I like a donut, a jam donut.
Oh, a jam
donut mid-morning, like when you just need a bit of an energy boost, or
jam donut or custard donut.
Jam donut, always. Custard donut.
Custard donuts. I mean, it is. I admit, a custard donut.
Cream. What about a cream
degeneracy.
Donut? A cream donut. Yeah.
Cream, no, because it's going to be spray cream. It's a squirty cream. It's not going to be proper
with a
cream.
Bit of that jam stuff on the top. That was all crazy.
Jam donut.
We did a job in Muswell Hill, and there was this bakery called the Queen of Tarts round the corner, and we just spent all our money in there pretty much every day. We just came out with sausage rolls and quiches and jam donuts and. Is anybody learning anything about gardening in this podcast?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that what we're doing is if you employ a landscaper.
Oh, it's about taking on.
It's about snacks in the garden. That's what people. I mean, they can contribute.
It's about etiquette, really.
Well, it's partly that, but it's also about how to get the best out of your landscaping crew. And one of the best ways, as you've established, is feed them well.
You got to keep
bring
morale
them tea
up.
Yeah, exactly, and allow them to. I mean, if you do stuff for them, they will work harder for you.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering when we were going to get around to my gold medal at Chelsea because did I just throw that in?
You did.
Yeah,
I think it might have been for the second episode running.
Yeah, because I used to take there was a bagel shop at the end of my road, 24-hour bagel shop, and they did cheesecake, slices of cheesecake. But do you like a cheesecake?
I do like a cheesecake.
I love a cheesecake.
Do you remember the cheesecake in Guys and Dolls?
What do you mean the cheesecake in Guys and Dolls?
Well, in Guys and Dolls, in the play.
Yes.
/film, there was a bet about Mindy's cheesecake and something
that's
else,
right,
and
it was
I
a
can't.
bet.
There was a bet about is this cheesecake better than such and such, and there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on like this. But I can't remember the
Well, I
whole
love
story.
a New York
A New York cheesecake.
Yeah, well, I've been making burnt Basque cheesecake. Look at me.
What's
Do I
a
look
burnt
like
Basque
Oh,
cheesecake?
it's amazing.
I thought a Basque was a piece of underwear.
No, it's like blackened on the top, and you got to get anyway. Nigella does a really good recipe, but I perfected my own.
Joseph, just while we're here, will you do your Nigella impersonation for us?
No, I can't do it.
Oh, go
I can't
on.
just show it. I can't do it like that, James.
Go on.
No, I can't.
Or about the creaminess.
Stop it. So anyway, cheesecake. I love cheesecake. And this bagel shop used to do a bit of cheesecake. But everyone would come in and buy a slice. But I was buying the whole cheesecake in a box, taking it down to the landscapers on site at Chelsea. And it had about 14 slices in it. And every, 11 o'clock in the morning, I would go and make the cup of tea and I'd open up that cheesecake box. And this was, 3-week long bit of build. I wasn't doing it every other day. I'd been a cheesecake because I wasn't there every single time at 11 o'clock. And that cheesecake goes a long way with morale. Everyone's like, oh man, that cheesecake. And it had the raspberry jam all over the top and the lovely crunchy biscuit base and stuff. Oh, yeah.
And that's why you won a gold medal. It was nice to do the design or the planting. It
No.
was the cheesecake.
Well, that was why the quality of the landscaping, the planting, everyone was fueled by this Hackney cheesecake.
I think it's
fantastic.
It's an important thing is to make sure that, and also if you're gardening in your own garden, then stop for something interesting. Stop for something nutritious. What else have I got in my bag?
What else you got in there then?
I mean, we've been talking for quite a long time.
You can't beat a packet
of crisps. You see, I'm not really a crispy kind of guy.
Well, with our cheese and tomato rolls, if we didn't have them for breakfast and got to mid-morning, you'd chuck a load of crisps in there. Yeah, for a crunch.
Oh, yeah, now this is something about which I've read, but I've never tasted.
What, your crisps in a
crisp
roll?
Sandwich, no.
Oh, yeah, because it adds a little bit of crunch.
I've had a chip butty.
Yeah, well,
Is this the same kind of thing?
What else you got there?
Custard cream.
Custard cream's a classic.
I've got a jelly worm, which is a variation on a jelly baby.
So that's all sort of Haribo sort of sugar, pure sugar.
Haribo things.
You got to be careful with that.
Haribo things, but what we do is that when we are judging gardens at Chelsea or another show, there's a moment sort of partway through. You start at sort of 7:30 in the morning, and by about 10 o'clock you're beginning to go a bit drooping, and you're thinking, oh shit, they're all bloody bronze medals, and so you need to be lifted up again at that point. And so some nice person from the RHS comes around with a bag, and in that bag are little bags of Haribos.
Okay.
And that is what RHS garden judging is fueled by Haribos. Basically, so there's another reason for us to get a sponsor. We can be sponsored by Haribo. Why not?
Well, also, let's go. I won at Chelsea. So Jo, I had a runner called Jo for many years. Then she turned into a senior runner, and now she's actually a real runner. She's running marathons and everything. She used to carry a packet of Percy Pigs around with her all the time. And every now and then I'd interview someone, quite like, I don't know, or meet, Grayson Perry or Nigel Havers or whoever it was. And she'd come up to me and she goes, I'm going to offer him a Percy Pig. and she would just sidle up to him and go, do you want a Percy Pig, like that? And 9 times out of 10, they go, oh, yeah, lovely. And they're vegetarian now as well. Okay. I think they used to have some sort of gelatine or something.
Yeah, they've basically got some cow hoof in them.
Who refused?
Who refused the Percy Pig?
Well, we don't like to talk about them.
I think it's quite important to know, just so that we understand. Nigel Havers, yes, Percy Pig?
No, I think everyone, and most people took a Percy Pig. I mean, some people, a lot of women who just had their lipstick all done, they would have been made up and had their lipstick done, might have refused the Percy Pig. Yeah. I think Mary Berry didn't fancy it, and Sarah Meadham, is it Sarah Meadham? I don't think.
Deborah Meadham.
And her sister, Deborah Meadham. She
didn't want them.
She didn't. I don't think she went for a Percy Pig, but it was always so funny. It was like turned into this joke. And then there was one year where there was like, you remember those Freddos, chocolate.
Little chocolate
Freddos.
Thing, yes.
We had a fridge full of Freddos. Yeah, and basically everyone sussed out that there was a fridge full of Freddos. No one knew. Anyway, literally 24 hours later, they're gone. All gone.
Because there used to be a sort of Mars bar in the fridge, or there used to be. There's always chocolate in the BBC green room, isn't there?
And cans of Coke. In the early days, there was a beer, but that went.
That disappeared completely. None of that kind of nonsense. So basically, we've gone through a reasonable gamut of biscuits. I think we've settled that the middle line, the safe thing, if you've got landscapers, is a digestive or a hobnob.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think that's fair
And
enough.
that means that you're steering clear of anything that's just a little bit down market, like a rich tea or a nice. Is it nice or a nice?
Oh, that's a really tough one. I mean, I've been asked some
I mean,
questions in my time.
It's not very
I think
nice,
it's
so it
nice. I
shouldn't
think
be.
they're nice.
But it's not very nice.
No, they're not very nice.
Do you think they come from Nice? Do you think they're Français?
I'm not. I think they are, but there's also those chocolate, those Leibovitz. Are they Leibovitz?
That's what I've been talking about.
The
The
one with the-
Balsams one, the Balsam Choco Leibovitz.
What,
That's
those?
what it is. Yes.
Oh, I love them.
Yes, that. Finally, we've got it.
What? Oh, but you
Now you understand
I'll be
what
honest-
a moment that was and why it was so important.
Oh yeah, but I'll be honest with you. You've gone a bit over the top now. I thought it was like this thing that was sort of the size of, I don't know, twice the size, 3 times the size,
It's big
and
enough.
thicker.
It's big enough.
Yeah, they're big enough. No, they're good.
Yeah,
They're
those are good. And if you're giving them, then that's just
Yeah,
the
they're a good
creme
one.
de la Edgar.
Yeah, but they do. There are home brand versions of those that are pretty good.
No, but they're not good enough. It's not the same thing.
Well, this was
There
a
are
long
home
time
brand
ago.
versions of
Things
all
have
sorts of
moved
things.
on, James. In
No,
the world
this is
of
it. This
dodgy
is how
fake
I'm going to
biscuits.
hold that thought as we go from this part of the podcast into the next part of the podcast. But please send us in some suggestions. What do you give your landscapers? What do you eat halfway through when you want a bit of a rest from gardening? I quite often have a small, a sort of handful of wine gums in my pocket.
Yeah.
That basically just get grubbier and grubbier when you're gardening, and every time you go into your pocket for a wine gum, there's just a little bit more soil, and a little bit more compost.
Well, that's
on
it. Are you meant to wash your hands before touching these
Oh,
posh
for
biscuits?
goodness sake, don't be such a ponce.
No, exactly. A gardener and a landscaper is not going to go, I'm just going to go and wash my hands because I'm going to have a biscuit and a cup of tea.
No,
They might for lunch or something.
No, but what's going to get muddy? Just a little corner? It's going to make no difference.
Well, they don't eat. They just go in one go, don't they?
Yeah, you've got to pick them up and get them there. You can't just tip them from the plate into your mouth. That would just be going too far. But it's there, and it's one of the most important moments in any landscaper's life is the moment when the biscuits come out. Do not squander that moment. That moment of bonding between you and your landscapers.
Give them a nice cup of coffee.
Give them a nice cup of coffee.
A
as well.
nice cup of coffee.
Yeah, make
a
sure
cup of coffee that you would like yourself.
Yeah. Landscapers are humans too.
They are.
And they're not just for Christmas.
No, and they'll do a better job.
Definitely.
The thing is, if you give them too much nice coffee and nice biscuits, you might never get rid of them. That's what I mean with my builders.
They may well come
I
and live with
started
you.
making them all like flat whites and everything every morning, and they were there forever. They were like Joe's flat whites are the best in town, you know. And they were there for a couple of years.
Okay, I've got 5 questions. We're going to rattle through them in a nice way. Oh, somebody's just thrown a milk. Okay, take a question.
They're still not letting me open the show. Wow, this is a very long question. Sven
from
Well,
Sweden?
Sven must be from Sweden, but I do know a Sven in.
Or it could be from Denmark.
It could be
from
Denmark.
Muswell Hill.
Could be from Finland, Norway,
Finland, Norway.
Scandinavia. Should we just open it out a bit?
Okay.
Yeah. Is getting a garden designer cheating? What? I mean, what this is all
Cheating?
This
is a competition.
Sven.
Okay, bad start, Sven. Bad start.
I'm going to turn these 2 gnomes away because I think they're a little bit upset by that. They're now not even looking now. Okay, since getting my quarter plot on an allotment, I've been amazed by the ingenious homemade contraptions, support, and cold frames people dream up. Then I scroll through social media and see folks splashing out on shiny new kit, perhaps with a little green-fingered envy, which feels a bit like cheating. By extension, is getting someone else to design your garden instantly also cheating? I love a garden makeover show, but if someone else picked my plants, would it still feel like my garden? Or would I be just a gnome owner with no idea how to keep it alive? Yours sincerely, Sven. Oh, here we go. Not a Scandinavian gnome, nor the character from Frozen. Well, I'm not having watched Frozen.
I've watched Frozen. It's really
Have you?
boring. Why did I watch Frozen? I watched Frozen with my niece, I think. I mean, it's fine. It kept everybody quiet for a bit, but it's not something I would go back to in
My
a hurry.
granddaughter thinks she's in Frozen.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
You can sit down and watch it with her.
Well, I'm going to tell her the truth.
It's not real.
No. And her name's Erin, not Anna. Anna. She thinks she's Anna because she's got red hair. Anyway, what do you think? That's a long one. Okay, so basically cheating. I think the thing about allotments, everyone is so frugal on an allotment. You can't turn up in an allotment having been down to
Harrods.
Harrods. No, Harrods.
No, you can't.
Or what about one of the sponsors, B&Q, Homebase,
Harrods.
Harrods, other companies are available. You can't go there and spend hundreds of quid on polytunnels and brand new gear and all that. It's all about being frugal and making something and being handy and taking stuff out of skips and bending pieces of plastic over for your polytunnels and cloches and all that sort of stuff. Also, someone will come along and bloody nick it, probably.
Yes, but it's part of the community feeling, isn't it? That's what you want from an allotment. An allotment is not just about you on your plot on your own. It's about you and everybody else. And you're sharing produce, you're sharing advice, you're sharing hints and tips, and you're sort of making stuff.
But you got to make stuff. You guess make you do.
I think
it's
so.
make you do.
I think if I had
but
an
that is a
allotment-
totally different premise than getting a garden designer in.
Correct.
As in, a recent episode where someone said, "I wish I'd seen Joe's talk at Hampton Court when I was." I'll just bring that up. Before I started planning my garden, because we have a lot of expertise, a lot of experience, and I think it's that visual thing. People, it's not like, if I'm not designing my own garden, I'm cheating somehow. What do you think?
No, I don't think that's the case at all. I think the purpose of a garden designer is to help you do the
Exactly.
best job possible.
Yeah, and get the most from the space.
Yeah, I mean, if you end up with a garden without the garden designer and you're not 100% happy with it, you have only yourself to blame. Basically, if the garden designer is there, we're not there to impose our views upon you. We're there to help you manifest what you really want.
Yeah,
basically.
And the thing about gardening is garden design is you can work out 10 years later you've put things in the wrong place, or if only you had done that, if only I had thought about that, or the choice of materials, the sizes of areas, how they link together, the flow, all those sort of things, and what you're going to see from various views. If you're just having a go at it yourself and you're not confident, or you set off on the wrong foot, 10 years later, you've put a huge amount of time, huge amount of effort into gardening, buying all the plants, buying all the materials, and sort of putting them together in the wrong place, in the wrong order. And that's our job, is to make them, is to be greater than the sum of its parts.
Absolutely.
That's what I always say.
Our job is there to try and stop you making too many mistakes, and also in the long run to save you money.
Yeah,
actually, because you only have to do it once. That doesn't necessarily mean that we'll always get it right, but we should get pretty close to it. And we're also there to sort of help you realize what you need and what you want. Do you think Sven gets a gnome?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think it's an interesting one. I love a garden makeover show, but if someone else picked my plants, would it still feel like my garden, or would I just be a gnome owner with no idea how to keep it alive?
No, because that's a different thing.
You're keeping the gnome alive, because they're not actually, the gnomes aren't actually alive. I'm worried Sven thinks we're going to send him a living creature.
No, that would be
in
cruel.
a box.
It would be cruel to send a living creature to Scandinavia. Particularly as he doesn't live there.
He's not in Scandinavia, and he's not in Frozen.
So
either.
I think that
good one.
That allotment should be sort of much more homespun. You wouldn't get a designer in to help you with your allotment, but I think it's perfectly okay to get a designer in to help you with your garden, because you and the designer will make a better job than just you on your own.
Definitely. If you want to work on your allotment, I think some copies of Joe's Allotment are still available.
Oh, is there a book called Joe's Allotment?
Well, there is. I think I've been pulped a bit probably, but you might find it in a charity shop.
Or
online, eBay
online.
or something. But there's lots of other really good allotment books out there as well.
Okay, I've got a question here. Oh, local to me. Sandy from Northamptonshire. Northamptonshire, marvellous. Lived there for 25 years. Being a sucker for a random bargain means that A, I sometimes end up with small plants that struggle to survive, or bulbs that don't flower. B, I have to work out where to put them, and planning goes out of the window. And C, I forget what I've ordered until a surprise package arrives. Basically, what's happening is that she is an impulse buyer.
Yeah.
She's passing something and says, "Oh, I'll have that. Oh, I'll have that," and that sort of thing is going on. Do you have any tips, Joe? Do you have any tips of how to break this addiction, or do I need to seek professional help? Hope you can help me with my dilemma. I mean,
I think we are professional help.
I think we are professional help, and we do have any tips. But basically, I think a lot of people garden like that. A lot of people garden on impulse, don't they? They sort of go along and say, "Oh, you see people at shows," and I've spoken to lots of people about what they've bought and why they've bought it.
Yeah, where they're going to put it.
And they've got no idea.
No, they haven't got a clue.
They haven't got a clue. Do you know where it ends up? Behind the shed.
Well, so the thing is that there's some plants, if they're poor quality, and they might be particularly cheap because they're knocked down prices because they're selling them off, or you're not buying them from a reputable supplier, or you're getting them from just like the DIY shop at the end of the road, and it's the fear of frost isn't over, and you're putting stuff out at the wrong time, but you're just thinking, I'll have some of those anyway. Then it is a false economy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's more fun just to go and do it. And sometimes you can rescue something.
Yeah, but that's what she's that's what she's doing, or she or he.
Sandy with an IE. So I think it's probably it's probably a Sandy.
I know Sandy's a bloke.
Sandy. The Sandy in Greece.
Yes.
Is she spelled SANDIE or SANDY? Olivia Newton-John.
With a Y, I think.
Rather than a Sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy Shaw, she was SANDIE, wasn't she?
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
what was Sandy Shaw's big hit? Because I can't remember. Was she the one who used to come on stage with bare feet? Or was that Petula Clark?
A little bit before my time, I'll be honest with you. I was a child.
Anyway, Sandy Shaw. So I think, tips how to break this addiction. Be more disciplined.
Yeah, buy seasonally at the right time and think about what you're buying. Go to your garden, look at your garden, take photographs of your garden and then think, okay, I'm going to do this area. What do I need? What's it going to look like? Rather than the other way around. Like, I bought all this stuff. Where am I going to stick it?
I've never, ever, ever met anybody who does that.
Well, that's what we do, James.
We don't. We just. I just think. Oh,
no. That's what we do professionally. You don't design someone's garden by going down the shop down.
No, I don't do that.
Shop down the end of the road, buying stuff and turning up
true. No,
and saying, "I've got all your stuff.
We'll have this. We'll do
Where
this.
are we going to put it?"
But I'm still liable to do an impulse buy occasionally.
For your own garden.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know what you're doing.
Really?
Well, apparently that's That's why we're here.
I think probably, yes. Basically, our tips to break this addiction are be organised or indeed seek professional help.
Yeah,
Ask people.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to us. We'll tell you.
Yeah.
Won't we?
Well, I think also the going back to previous questions, Fen, garden designers, sometimes I think getting a garden designer in and just being completely honest and open and saying, look, I want you to come around to my house, look at my garden, spend 2 or 3 hours, write down a list of plants that you think will do well, think about how I could do it together, sketch something out, I'll pay you for your time. And I just want to pay you for your time and a few ideas to get some pointers in the right direction.
Well, that's quite interesting.
Is that good advice?
No, I think that's just very good advice because the thing about people think, oh, garden designer, it's going to be big expense, it's going to be all that.
It's going to be a huge project.
You can just buy an hour or so. Just having somebody with a fresh eye coming and walking around your garden, somebody knows what they're doing, is actually money well spent.
I think
that's a nice Christmas present for somebody.
Yeah, and you can go to the SGD, Society of Garden Designers, or what we call now the Society of Garden and Landscape SGLD.
The SGLD.
Got a new logo and everything.
You're a fellow of the SGLD.
I am a fellow. Are you a fellow?
Yeah.
Oh, we're two fellows.
Well, both two fellows well met.
Lovely.
Okay, so we've got another question here. One of the problems with these things is that Louis doesn't understand basic mathematics.
But going back to the last question, you're not going to go down the shop and buy some eggs. You're not going to buy some eggs, some custard creams, some, spinach, and then some honey, and get home and think, how am I going to put this all together and make a nice meal?
That's like Ready, Steady, Cook.
Yeah, I did that.
That's basically
I did that with Carol Klein. We got to get Carol Klein mentioned in again. Yes.
What did you do?
Well, I watched this guy cook mainly.
Was it with Ainsley Harriott?
Yeah, it was Ainsley.
What did you cook?
Ainsley's a big Arsenal fan as well.
So what you get the ingredients and then a professional chef does the cooking?
Yeah, you chop the odd onion and a bit of garlic
and
chat and you chat, and then 20 minutes later he's knocked up a 3-course meal.
Well, that's a way of doing it.
And I think I won. I've got the plate at home saying that I'm a winner.
Oh, that's
nice. It's a very big plate. In fact, it's such a big plate, you could get so many biscuits on it for your landscape, but it's one of those, it's like a trophy plate.
Were you the tomatoes or the peppers?
That's that tomatoes, I think.
But okay, so using that as an analogy, going back to our previous question before we move on to this one, is that yes, you provide the ingredients, you provide the plants that you've bought, and then the professional chef comes and shows you how to do it.
Yes, but
So it's
I
the same
chose the
thing.
ingredients, but I chose ingredients that you can make a meal out of. I didn't choose like random ingredients.
Oh, it's much more fun if you do. If you had a packet of jelly babies and an egg.
That's
That
what I
would be
just
much
said.
more of a
And some
challenge,
spinach
wouldn't it?
And a bit of honey.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Okay.
Okay. So just my other point is the fact that Louis is not good at mathematics because we've got two of us.
Yeah.
And he's given us 5 questions.
Yeah.
Which means that how does that work? It means
Four
one of
for-
us has got
four
to have
for me,
3
one for you.
questions. Okay, if we want to do that sort of unfairness.
Don't worry about it. You're getting a bit uptight, James, in
Come
your
on
old
then.
age. You need to relax.
Okay, I'm
It
relaxing.
doesn't matter.
I'm going to close my eyes for a bit while you
You're the
talk.
compare.
Go on then.
Is it your turn?
No, it's your turn.
You sure?
Yeah. Okay, 2 questions left. Which one
2
would you like?
questions.
Left question or right question?
I'll have that one. I don't know. It's my right, your left. Fran from Herefordshire. I think I'm going to do Herefordshire, actually. Yeah.
Dude, that's that.
don't know
Herefordshire
what
is
they
one of
talk
those
like.
difficult places. It's
Monty's
a
in
lovely.
Herefordshire, isn't he?
He's in Herefordshire.
But he doesn't talk like
He
that.
doesn't talk like that at all.
No, he can't be.
I don't think anybody in Herefordshire talks like that.
No.
They have lovely red soil in Herefordshire.
Yeah, the beautiful part of the world.
Really
isn't
nice.
It?
It is. It's
gorgeous.
quite a long way away, but quite a long way away from many other places. But a
Well,
very
it's
nice.
not a long. It's not a long way from Herefordshire.
No,
If you
it's
live
quite
there,
close
it's
to
right next
Herefordshire.
door, isn't it?
There's another garden. What's the garden in Herefordshire? Oh, Tamsin's garden that I can't
Sounds
remember.
in Westthorpe.
Yes, she's got a really nice garden that she looks after, and that's in Herefordshire. They have a sort of apple orchard and things.
Yeah, look, he looks good. I've never been there. I have recently heard the term chaos gardening.
Oh,
Surely this is a contradiction in terms, as chaos is disorganized, but gardening is organized. Is therefore chaos gardening wildlife gardening or wildlife gardening chaos? I am inventing my own name for my gardening, synthesized, i.e. a mixture of everything. There's 3 exclamation marks at the end of this,
okay.
which worries me.
There's too many.
Because one is enough. Unless it's probably been sent on a text or WhatsApp or something, hasn't it? That's where you whack a load.
Is there
of
an
them in.
emoticon?
So basically, I'm not sure. Where's the question? Oh yeah, is there therefore chaos gardening? I think this is the question hidden in the middle without a question mark. Is therefore chaos gardening wildlife gardening or wildlife gardening chaos? No, wildlife gardening doesn't have to be chaos at all.
Have you heard of the expression chaos gardening?
No, have you?
No.
Well, we both have now. So thank you for enlightening us, Fran. Unless Fran's made
What
it
I
up.
would assume that chaos gardening could be a number of things. It could be a garden which isn't really gardened and is allowed to carry on its own way.
Rewilding, isn't it?
That sort of
Rewilding.
gets into rewilding. But I think chaos gardening is maybe a better way of describing it than actual rewilding. So it could be that. It could be the fact that he is a chaotic gardener, which means he doesn't really know what he's doing.
Who's he?
Well, who is that?
Mel.
Mel. Oh,
No.
Well, it could be.
No, it's Fran.
Fran. I thought, okay, Fran. So I'm mixing up. Fran. Yeah, she could be a chaotic gardener, which again is fine if that makes her happy. But chaos gardening is not the same as wildlife gardening.
Well,
I guess.
what is going to be the thing about gardening? Gardening is control, right? Okay, let's go back to what gardening is. Gardening is control of some sort. And I think it's to do with all you're organising nature.
Yeah.
And what you're doing it for, usually aesthetic reasons,
Yeah.
but obviously it can be hugely beneficial to. I think in the past, while a wildlife garden used to be seen as a messy garden, but these days it's
Doesn't
not.
necessarily
It
have to
doesn't have to
be.
be. It can be a beautifully designed space and encourage wildlife at the same time. I think that's what's interesting. And I think that in the last, maybe 10, 15 years, things have moved that way. I've certainly moved that way. I've encouraging and thinking about wildlife much more in my gardens, but not losing that design aesthetic.
No, I think that's absolutely right, and that's the clever thing about it.
Yeah.
Is that it's the same. Okay, if you take the analogy about that, vegetarian cooking
Yeah.
30, 40 years ago
Mm-hmm.
was always just a lot of roughage and wasn't really very nice at all. And it was quite sort of chaotic and quite sort of, a bit of ground nut here and the ingredients didn't exist and everybody thought it was a bit weird and a bit sort of funny. So 30 years ago, the idea of gardening for wildlife was also considered to be a bit funny and a bit weird. And over the following decades, vegetarian cooking has become much, much more sophisticated, and we can live quite happily without having to have beef and chickens and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
it's become more sophisticated and it's become more tasty and it's become more beautifully put out.
Exactly.
Yotalengi's got something to do with it. Our friend Yotalengi's got something to do
and
with
the
that.
same thing goes with wildlife gardening. It's become less chaotic, more part of design and more part of what is, you would quite happily go to a restaurant and pick the vegetarian option, even if you weren't a vegetarian.
Yeah.
If you were a wildlife gardener, you could still have a well-designed, well-balanced, beautiful garden and still and now have space for it in it for wildlife
so
too.
would you call that a synthesized garden?
I'm not sure.
As Fran's,
I think
as
maybe-
or it's not a chaos garden for sure.
No, it's not. It's not chaos gardening. Chaos gardening would be hands off, not doing anything at all.
I think I don't know. There might be a new thing called chaos gardening that wouldn't even you and I have never heard of. That there's the kids on the street on the gardening street on a horticultural in the halls of horticulture are putting on Instagram and on social media, and they're doing this chaos gardening thing that actually is still engaging with the garden.
It may well be that we don't know. And we should do some research and we can find out. But
we've never heard of chaos gardening.
I'm surprised because we are quite on the streets, you and I. You're on the streets of Bridport.
Yeah.
I'm on the streets of Chipping Norton.
Yeah, that's true.
It works. It works well in many directions. But there's the idea of synthesized gardening. Synthesized, I'm not sure if that's the right word. Sympathetic.
i.e. a mixture of everything, Fran says. A mixture of everything, which I think a lot of gardens are a mixture of everything.
Of course.
It's just they're just organised and put together, and how much design you put into them is sort of up to you. And
it's a mixture of growing things together. It's like the idea of growing fruit and vegetables and flowers all together, or everything is coming together. But is it synthesized? I keep thinking of the Moog synthesizer.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like the word synthesized because it sounds.
What should we call it instead? Where everything goes together happily. It's utopian gardening. I quite like.
That's nice.
Nirvana gardening.
We could just call it gardening.
We could just call it gardening.
Just call it gardening.
Thank you, Fran. Let's
Thank
just
you,
call
Fran.
it gardening.
Yeah, and a little green gnome will be coming to
Dead right. To where does she live?
adorn your synthesized space.
In Herefordshire with your nice red whatevers. Okay. I've got a question here from Katie in Washington, USA.
Washington, we had one from Washington.
We have had one
USA.
from Washington. We weren't sure whether it was Washington, D.C. or it was Washington State. We assumed it was Washington State.
But this isn't the same. Is that US of A?
US of A. The US of A. Katie, Washington, USA. Hello, Jekyll's gents.
I want a proper Washington accent here, James. Come on. You haven't done one for a while.
Washington
Have a go. Have a go. What can go wrong?
I can do a sort of generic American.
Yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Hello, Jekyll's gents. We're new parents with a new garden. Does that sound right? About right?
I like
Is that okay?
that. Yeah.
I'm curious if there are any design elements for kids you'd recommend or recommend against. How do you recommend against something? Aside from the standard stuff like pond safety and avoiding pointy and poisonous things, is the excavated trampoline to pond endeavor genius or overrated? Is a willow hut cool or cumbersome? You've got a grandchild. You've got Erin.
Yeah, sorry, but your accent was slipping.
It was appalling.
And actually, I didn't actually. You started off with good elocution,
and it slipped.
And it slipped in. I think you headed south. Everything headed south.
New parents.
Yes.
New garden.
Yes.
Design elements for children that you would recommend.
Okay.
Aside from the standard stuff like don't have a really, really deep pond into which they can fall.
Oh, health and safety.
Or don't have any cactus within reach of them, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And poisonous things, nothing you could eat. So you as the grandfather of a 3-year-old.
Yes.
Erin. Adorable in every possible way.
Absolutely.
Have you done anything in your garden, in Joe's country garden, that is specifically for her?
Well, we put a swing up on a tree from dangling from a tree brow, but actually the garden. So this summer we had some family staying and my little niece and nephew, and then Erin's been. It's a great garden for kids. It's absolutely, and they love it. They built a little den in the woodland because there was loads of twigs and stuff knocking around. We did put up a little paddling pool for them to, but their imaginations just ran wild. And Kath and I went away for a week, came back, and there was a card on our kitchen table drawn by Marnie, shout out for Marnie, just all the things that they did and the picture of the garden, all the birds and the trees and their little hut and their little log stack, and then the insects, and it's just a beautiful little thing. And they had the most amazing time. So I think a really good, rich garden is going to interest a kid. I think the thing is, when I had young kids, and I've designed gardens for kids, is not to go down the playground route too much.
Absolutely.
Make the garden stimulating enough in itself, where the imagination and play can be done within the garden space. So, little low walls that they can run along, or borders with a little path that they can run through, and so that they can engage with the garden much more than having a play area that's cordoned off. And then also little areas where they can plant seed and they can grow and engage in the garden that way. I think it becomes incredibly exciting.
I think that's right. I think that's a really good piece of advice, actually. In fact, it's a piece of sensible advice, is what we like. Because there is a temptation that okay, we're going to have a kids' play area, and you go and buy a tree house and a plastic thing and all that kind of stuff. And then the other thing that they make a big mistake of doing, parents do, is, okay, we don't want to look at this stuff. So we're going to put it up the other end of the garden. And that is the biggest mistake you can make, because the children will not use it. Because what the children want to do is, if they're on a swing, or if they're doing something, or if they're making something, they want to share that with you. They want to say, hey, mommy, look what I'm doing. Hey, daddy, look at this, all that kind of stuff. And if they're right up the other end, then you're never going to be there, so they're not going to want to do it, because they're going to want to react with you.
And if you screen it off too much, then you're worried about, I think dens and things like that are really good. But creating...
I love a den.
But you can plant just, whips or a bamboo and sort of tie them in at the top, and that's a little...
Well, this is one of her questions about a willow hut.
Yeah, a willow hut, great.
A willow hut is it's a cool thing to do. You basically just put some cuttings in the ground and then train it. You can make a willow palace.
Yeah, totally. Willow tunnels, willow runs, and they need to be cut back hard every year.
Yeah,
I'm living willow. But at the same time, when the kid has grown up, and they do grow up pretty quickly, that little willow hut will be used for vaping. Generally,
there needs to be somewhere.
Start off vaping. The play area at the back and stuff. But don't worry about changing the garden at that point, is what I mean. If it doesn't work anymore, then cut that stuff down. Like, I had this scaffold pole pergola, and we had tire swings from it. And then when the kids grew up, took the tire swings down, and and grew some climbers up over the pergola. So it was the design was quite clever in that it worked. It worked over a 20-year period. But the hard landscaping and the planting was sort of set, but it worked really nicely for kids.
Yeah.
But then it also turned into a grown-up garden, I guess.
That's what I think she's talking about here, about excavating trampolines, turning into ponds, that's a little bit more major engineering to actually make that happen. But all of that sort of stuff. Basically, the answer that we're giving to Katie is, your kids will love your garden.
Yeah.
You just make the garden so that it's friendly to them, and don't be too precious about it. If they run through a flower bed, they run through a flower bed. I'm afraid that's just tough.
But fill it with plants. Don't just have it all one big lawn area to kick a football around, or a soccer ball, or whatever you call it. It's
soccer ball.
Soccer ball.
Oh,
soccer.
soccer.
They play soccer over there.
I know. It's
who invented
weird.
the game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's football.
It's a disgrace, isn't it?
Yeah, but don't just people think, oh, I'm going to have a child-friendly garden. It's just going to all be lawn with a climbing frame in it. Kids, that's not.
They don't want it.
They don't want it. That's not going to capture their imagination. It's not going to help them engage with nature, wildlife, which is what a garden space is.
The garden is for them as well. And if I can just do a little shout out at this point,
please do.
I like babies very much.
Yeah.
If anybody has any spare babies and they would like to send them in to Scribehound, gardening@scribehound.com.
Post them.
Yeah, if you can get quite big padded envelopes nowadays, and you can pop your baby in there and send it to me, then I will look after your baby, because I like a baby.
I've been on stage many times with James at various flower shows, and if there's a baby in the audience, James disappears off, and the baby sort of, coos, and then he ends up on stage with this lovely little baby.
Yeah.
And it's a very cute thing.
It's very nice. The best one I did is when Monty was talking at probably at Gardens World Live, and he was doing this thing, and I saw this baby, and I was doing sort of questions from the audience. So he was answering this question. I went and I stole this baby, and I walked onto the stage and walked behind Monty, and everybody stopped looking at him completely. He suddenly realized that nobody was paying any attention whatsoever to what he was saying, because there was this really cute baby just behind him.
I think the term borrowed would probably go down better than stole.
It was returned.
I'm sure you're fully insured.
It was returned safely
to
its mother.
Yeah, 10 minutes later.
Yeah. But if anyone wants to send us a baby, then that's absolutely fine. The other things that you can do, I tell you what, I think we're going to make a new rule.
Oh.
Okay. If you get a gnome,
yeah,
then what we require from you is for you to go to your podcast person of choice and write us a nice review. And that would be a good thing to do,
And
wouldn't
send
it?
us a photo of the gnome in situ.
And send us a photograph of the gnome in situ.
We'd like to know that they make...
I feel that's yes, because we had a couple of photographs of gnomes. We'd like more. We can put them on our Instagram so we can show them to you as well. But yeah, go and give us a really nice review because that helps other people to find this podcast and what we would like. I think a few weeks ago we decided, we decided that we wanted to have all 6 billion people on the planet listening to us on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I'd settle for 5 billion.
Okay, I think that's modest but acceptable. So the only way we're going to do that is if you lot who get gnomes go out and write nice reviews.
If you not write nice
reviews,
reviews, and also that nice chocolate biscuit sponsor,
yes,
they'll probably get straight in touch with us and want to sponsor the whole show. We'll have biscuits here.
Everything. We can send you biscuits. We've got cheap crisps. We've got nuts. We've got everything possible. This is the James and Joe Garden Show, where really good things happen to good people.
And it makes you a sexier gardener.
And it makes
Let's
you a
not forget that.
We won't forget that bit. It's been really lovely talking to you today. We will be back next week. If you want more of this, go and sign up at Scribe Hound Gardening. Thank you very much indeed.
Au revoir.